this Palestinian father was on his way to pick up the birth certificates for his newborn twins. And while he was getting the birth certificates, the Israelis carried out an airstrike on his house. They killed his wife. They killed both of his newborn children, and I believe his mother as well. I mean, there are no words, really.
كنت رايح اجيب الكشان.
That's him. That's the father. Right?
بتاع الولاد. مرتي ولدت اول امبارح. رحت اجيب الكشان. طلعت شهادة الميلاد وجاني ولدين توم. اتصلوا علي قالوا لي الدار اللي انت فيها انقصفت. ناس من الحارة. راحت مرتي. ولادي الاثنين وحماتي. لسه ما فرحتش عليهم. وهي لسه والدة قيصر يعني لسه تعبانة لسه ما بتقومش تتحركش. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل وبس. الله أكبر.
من الله ورحمة خير من.
Even CNN did a report on it, which was, I mean, you know, as usual, they do a little bit of truth telling once in a while, and then that's it. But nevertheless, I shall play it for you just so you can see it.
How do you console a man?
Here.
How do you console a man whose whole world has been shattered? A man who hours earlier was locked in the warm embrace of his wife and newborn babies, but now cries out in agony, begging to see them one last time. His new horrific reality is too much to bear. His wife and twin babies are dead, killed in an Israeli strike on their apartment in central Gaza, according to hospital officials. Aysal and her brother Asser were just 3 days old. The Palestinian Ministry of Health says they are among 115 infants born and killed during the war in Gaza. Hours earlier, their mother, Jumana, a pharmacist, was blissfully responding to congratulations and well wishes on Facebook. I feel like it was a miracle. Alhamdulillah, sister, everything is going well. Jumana, Aysal, and Asser now lie here, in a room consumed with Muhammad's inconsolable grief. These are the birth certificates, he says. While I was getting them, I received a phone call telling me our apartment was targeted and that my wife and children were at Al-Aqsa Hospital. Neighbors are still sifting through the aftermath of that strike. Hospital.
Right. You see the image right there. Do you see how precise that is? How calculated? They didn't take out the whole building. They took out that specific apartment. When you are able to conduct a strike like that, you know very well who you're killing. You know very well, right? The Israelis know where everybody lives. They know what they do. They targeted his family because his wife is a healthcare professional. That's the reason. That's the reason. Because we know it is a fact that the Israelis target doctors, they target journalists. The doctors in Gaza, when they finish work, they leave the hospital and people give them, well, I mean, they are civilians, of course, but they basically take off the scrubs, the hospital scrubs that they wear. They take them off because it's like having a target on your back. They don't want to be sniped or killed by the Israelis. Just to add, this adds another level of malfeasance and evil to the whole story, doesn't it?
Officials say an Israeli shell hit the building. The Israeli military did not respond to CNN's request for comment. The victims of several other strikes in central Gaza also pour into Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, where more parents grieve the deaths of their children. How can I live after you, my son? This mother cries. Amid the grief, there is also anger and exasperation, including from the dead man's father. The entire unjust world does not care about this. That's all I can say, Hassan says. Just numbers. We are just numbers, but for God, we are martyrs. One by one, their bodies are brought out of the morgue so the living can pray for the dead, including 9-month-old Jamal and his father Uday. Mohammed is performing the same rituals for his wife and twin babies. But prayers offer little comfort for a man who has lost everything, for a new father with no children to raise.
Just, just sadistic, really just sadistic, evil behavior. Every single day, there is a new crime, there is a new atrocity, there is a new massacre that the Israelis come up with, without fault. It's like it's like a challenge for them or something, And look at the level of bombing that they've carried out in Gaza. Just this again from satellite data provided by the UN. Okay, 6th of July. That's basically all of Gaza. And again, this is not. It's not very exhaustive or comprehensive because it only takes into account rooftop damage. So when it comes to the ground, for example, that's not taken into account. And they still want to sit there and tell you it's not a genocide. Amazing, really. And if you look at the BBC, look at the headline that they published about this story. They wrote baby twins killed in Gaza as father registered births. I mean, what does that mean? That it sounds like it almost sounds like he killed them because he registered their births, which makes literally no sense. Or it sounds like, they just, I don't know, they were in a stroller, they were in a pram, and it just like it started rolling by itself. And when he was doing some paperwork, and I mean, look how sick that is. Instead of saying Israel murders, murdered his children and his wife, no, don't even mention Israel. Don't even call him a Palestinian. Nothing. And then because of a lot of outrage and backlash, they ended up changing the headline inside of the article itself when you click the link. But of course, the tweet is still the same. Just vile behavior. And they did the same thing with Mohammed Bahar, for example. They instead of saying that he was mauled to death mauled by an Israeli army dog, then left to bleed to death by the IDF, they say the lonely death of a man with Down syndrome. They just make it as abstract and passive as possible. So people who don't even read the articles, who just see the headlines and skip past, they receive no information and no they have no idea of what actually Israel is doing to Palestinians on an unbelievable scale. If you consider the number of babies that the Palestinians have lost since the war began, okay? So 115 Palestinian babies that were born after October 7 have been killed. And you've got 2,100, around 2,100 children under the age of 2 that have been killed as well. So that figure of 2,100 includes children, for example, that were born in September or August, 2023. So just before, but who were still killed nevertheless in the last 10 months. Really just horrific. And I think in total it's now 17,000 children that have been killed, 20,000 that are still missing, likely dead as well. Really, it's a lot. It's really a lot.
احنا زهقنا يا عالم، زهقنا. انت تعبتي؟ رجعنا لحالي، كلنا تعبنا. كل الأطفال، كل الشباب تعبوا. بكفي عاد بكفي. شو اليهود بتسوي فينا؟ دول عربية بتطلع فينا، عجبها الموضوع اللي احنا فيه؟ عجبها ولا بتطلع فينا هيك؟ احنا زهقنا يا عالم، زهقنا. انتوا يا عرب يلي مش عارفه ايش اقول عنكم. الاطفال قاعده بتموت تحت الردم، بتقطع ايديها، بتقطع رجليها، بتقطع روسها. لكل واحد عربي واجنبي بده يشوفنا. ايش الدم اللي فيكم؟ من وين مصنوعين؟ انتم معيطين مسموعين. لو بدكم صار في زي هيك حتسكتوا على الموضوع هذا. انا بدي احكي كلمه واحده، مش مسامحاكم دنيا ولا اخره، وحقول يا ربي اني ما يسامحكم دنيا ولا اخره. هذا اخر كلمه حقول لكم.
Yeah, and who could blame her, really? So this is what the West supports. This is what the West condones. This is what the West does. You know, remember, every single one of these atrocities is Western-backed. It could not happen without the military support, the diplomatic cover, the media cover, political cover that is provided 24 hours a day by the UK, by the US, by France, by Germany, by the EU. You know, it's a collaborative effort. It really is. And it's a disgusting, it's a dirty, dirty, dirty one, really. And remember, in England, we had these riots because 3 children were killed in Southport. And they claimed originally, you know, people who are on the far right, and all of them are, of course, backed and supported by Israel, and they're all Zionists. They were claiming that a Muslim immigrant had done it, and turns out it was someone born in Wales, you know. They rioted because of that, because of 3 children. They were ready to burn down the UK, you know. They laid siege to mosques. They tried to burn down a Holiday Inn because it had asylum seekers inside, you know, just mad racist behavior. So this guy just lost 2 children, okay? Not 3, but 2, newborn twins, and they were killed by Americans, by Israelis, by you know, Britain, by the West. Does he have the right now to just go and burn down the United States? Is the far right going to mobilize and burn down the United States or burn down Israel because of what it did to his children? Because Israelis came to his country and killed his family in his home? No, he's not going to do that, because he is not a scumbag like the Zionist far right that we have in the West. But he is nevertheless an actual victim of racist violence and genocide. Really, just, you know, aside from what I showed you, there will be no other coverage in the media. You know, this is one story among many others, and it's just, you know, on the off chance that they managed and tried to cover it and did cover it. Usually they wouldn't bother. This is not a unique story by any means. Doesn't make it any less horrific, of course. My point is just that it's happening left and right, and they all know it, and they're not covering it. And even when they do cover it, like the BBC, they run cover for Israel, no pun intended. Half-assed journalism. I mean, more like complicity in genocide. Again, YouTube demonetized my channel because I'm not allowed to say naughty things about Israel. You know, telling the truth is forbidden. So if you are able to donate a few dollars on PayPal or on a monthly basis on Patreon, please consider doing it, because it would really help me continue my journalism and support independent media. So I'd be very grateful. And the links are in the description and also in the chat. Thank you guys very much again for all your donations and all your kind comments. I appreciate it very much.